Today we are going to go through the Amiga 550 to 565 automatic section. Also the 752 has the same automatic section, and just go through a couple of different little problems and solutions and how they're fixed. I'm using, for this, to hold this in place, I'm just using a jig, which if you've already watched the last video, I got a whole lot of them for different calibers from All Time Co. This one's for the 550. The main problem with this automatic section is the rotor post, which sticks through. So when you go to put it on flat ground, like, it rocks and it doesn't sit right, and it's quite annoying. So these jigs are definitely well worth getting because they just kind of hold it in place. Alright, with this watch, I've already taken the automatic weight off. This is just an old one, and just the retaining plate that holds that on. With these watches, first thing you always want to do is you always want to check for wear around the edge where the automatic rotor has been wearing. On this one, we can see that there's a track on the edge. And basically that indicates that the rotor's been wearing. That could happen because of two reasons. One, the bushing often needs to be replaced, or two, the rotor post itself needs to be replaced. Now, often I will just go with both if there is wear, just to cover my bases. From there, we have 3 screws. These two are the same, this one is different, these two are longer, this one is shorter. Make sure you adjust all your screwdrivers because the screw slots for these are very skinny. And you can use a black screwdriver or your red screwdriver. So the red one, just because it goes through the hole, covers most of the slot. A good check to do before you take those screws off is to move the reduction wheel. So what I like to do, the good thing about this tool is I can have it in place and then I can push the reduction wheel around. What that will tell me if the reversing wheel has got any problems. If it feels smooth and you're not getting too much like crunching or grinding, then you know you're good. If not, you know you've got a problem. So the one on its own is longer, and the two up the top here are shorter, and they're also different thicknesses as well. Right, next thing you want to do is you want to take this ridge off. It's pretty simple. From there you have 2 reduction wheels. One is bigger and one is smaller, and they do have an up and a down. So make sure you pay attention to that. More often than not, these have wear on the pinions and have to be replaced. So as standard, we always replace those. Next you have is the reversing wheel. This is actually made up of a pinion, two wheels, and then you've got 2 star wheels internally as well, which is quite complex. I often have to replace these due to wear, and they never really work right after 30, 40, 50 years. Next one is the automatic reduction wheel, and this is a common problem because it's next to the ratchet wheel. It generates a lot of torque, and basically you get a lot of wear through there. This one's had a bit of water on there, as you can see. Common problem with this is the right here you'll get tracks where the reduction wheel has been wearing into the plate. The reason for that is that reduction wheel sits in this little brass plate here, and that commonly wears and has to be replaced. You'll know that's worn if there's tracks on the automatic bridge, which there isn't on this, so we're all good there. Another common problem, depending on the caliber that you have, sometimes the reversing wheel will sit into a brass bush instead of a jewel, and you can obviously change that or upgrade it, and then what happens is you get also wear tracks, and that can be because of either A, the pivot, or B, the bushing. In this instance, it was because of the bushing. From there, we have the 3 screws for the rotor post. Having this jig really makes it quite easy to maneuver and hold everything. If you don't have the jig, you can certainly use like a stake with a hole. It's not as convenient because this kind of locks it all into place and stops it moving side to side. Once I've done that, I always make a habit of, before I put it in the cleaner, I like to Rodico all the jewel holes, and then I also like to use pegwood just to clean them all out. This assists the cleaner as much as possible and gets rid of any tough foil that might be on there. What I like to do then is I'll get rid of any fingerprints or anything beforehand with some Rodico before it goes into the cleaner, and just clean the jewels. Right, that's ready to get chucked in the cleaner. When assembling, try and avoid using Rodico because it does leave a little bit of a residue mark behind. So I always prefer to use sticky dots, which you can buy from Cousins UK. Once again, look, I just recommend getting this tool. It makes life so much easier. I think it costs like $40. There's a couple of different places making them now. I'm in Australia, so I just get it from All Time Code. Super easy, and just a nice bloke to deal with.